Son of a Night Fury, written by Dragonfan 101 Chapter 9. The Dragon's Nest. After Hiccup spent this day with Spike and Toothless after such an intense, but really fun and amazing flight, he headed back home to try and figure out more on what to do. His desk had tons of diagrams and drawings of Toothless and how he could help him fly better, while Spike doesn't look to need help right now, but he still was trying to figure out how he's so different from the other dragons. Being able to walk and talk like him and the other Vikings is still something he's trying to process, but right now he just doesn't have proper detail as to why. Hiccup was laying his head down on his desk while flicking his pencil back and forth while he looked at all the drawings he's done. He was lost in his thoughts on what to do after realizing something incredibly important. But what he didn't see was Stoic was walking into the house again after returning, and he looked like he wanted to talk about something. Hiccup. Stoic announced, making Hiccup very surprised that he's here. Dad. You're back. God was not here, so Hiccup said nervously while he tried hiding all the research he's been doing over these last few days. I know, I came looking for you, Stoic said as he squeezed through the door since it's hard for him given his size. You did? Hiccup asked nervously while he was marching up to him. You've been keeping secrets? Stoic said sternly, making Hiccup more afraid hearing that. I have. Hiccup asked again while he tried hiding the journal he has while Stoic kept getting more serious. Just how long do you think you could keep them from me? Stoic questioned again, making Hiccup get a deep sense of dread hearing this. I don't know what you're on, Hiccup said before Stoic interrupted him in an even deeper tone than usual. Nothing happens on this island without me being aware of it. So, let's talk about those dragons. Stoic finished, making Hiccup feel fear thinking he knows about Toothless and Spike. Oh gods. Dad, I'm so sorry. I was going to tell you, I just didn't know how to Hiccup said fearfully before Stoic suddenly started to laugh in a more proud tone which confused him a bit. Hold on, you're not upset? Hiccup questioned again just as he stopped laughing. What? I was hoping for this. Stoic said proudly, which confused Hiccup even more. You were? Hiccup asked as Stoic went into more detail on it. And believe me, it only gets better. Just wait till you spill an egger's guts for the first time. And mount your first grankle head on a spear. What a feeling. You really had me going there, son. Stoic said as he accidentally pushed him back a bit, and that's and Hiccup realized he was talking about the training he's gone through and has done extremely well at, much to the entire village's surprise. All those years ago, the worst Viking Berk's ever seen. Dear Odin. It was rough, I almost gave up on you, and all the while you were holding out on me. Oh Thor Almighty. Stoic prayed to the heavens while he started to sit down to talk about it. With you doing so well in the ring, we finally have something to talk about. Stoic said with a smile, making Hiccup be silent for a few. While he was glad to know he hadn't found out about his little secret yet, he still didn't know how to talk to him about how he's been able to do so well with his training. It's probably not how he thinks it is. He himself didn't think he'd get this far into training, but with the little skills he picked up, it kinda makes sense. Hiccup and Stoic remained silent with each other for a bit, both not knowing how to properly talk to each other about Hiccup's sudden success with his training, and that's when Stoic had an idea on what he could give him. Hiccup, I brought you something to keep you safe in the ring. Stoic offered as he held out an old but tough-looking helmet that looked like it could fit him. Only barely though. Wow, thanks. Hiccup said with surprise while he looked closer at its detail. Your mother would have wanted you to have it. It's half of a breastplate. Stoic explained, which made Hiccup look a bit disgusted at realizing what it's made out of. He swore he almost puked out that fish he had to eat days ago hearing it. A matching set, it keeps her close, you know. Especially after what happened to you years ago. But you deserve it, wear it proudly, okay? You held up your end of the deal. Stoic said in a calm yet proud tone while Hiccup was still trying to take all of this in. Thank you, Dad. Hiccup said as he lightly put the helmet on his desk to try and find a way out of this, and he did that by making a yawn to show he's a bit tired after all this. I should probably get to bed now. Hiccup said tiredly, which Stoic could agree with. Yes, okay, good talk. Stoic said as he started getting up, and they both started to talk at the same time again. I'll see you back at the house. They both said at once while Stoic started backing up to leave. Thanks for stopping by and giving me the hat. Hiccup said nervously since he still disgusted him with what it's really made out of. Yeah, I hope you like it. Well, good night. Stoic dismissed as he was finally leaving Hiccup alone, who was still trying to processing this. Stoic sighed to himself and shook his head while feeling good about what he's been able to accomplish, and as he left, he accidentally knocked over multiple weapons and shields, making him quickly get out of there to get rest for tonight. We cut to the next day where Hiccup was taking one more training lesson with a Grankle. He and Astrid were the only other students left thanks to their skills, and Hiccup tried his best to not blow it. Almost the whole village was watching them this day, and he had a lot on the line for it. Hiccup took heavy breaths and hid behind a wall he used for cover. He now wore the hat that Stoic gave him last night while carrying his axe, but when Astrid went to hide for cover right where he is, she glared at him and pushed his shield down in an aggressive way. "Stay out of my way. I'm winning this thing," Astrid said in a threatening tone before she got ready to go out herself. Please by all means," Hiccup insisted while she began rolling to a few more walls for cover. He looked up at his dad again, who looked hopeful he will win this, and he felt nervous about the decision he's gonna have to make here. Astrid kept moving to the walls for cover to sneak up on the Grankle. She's lost almost every other match thanks to Hiccup somehow getting good with his training, and she was not gonna lose this one. Okay, this time, for sure, Astrid told herself before she ran out and made a loud battle cry to try and attack the Grankle, but to her surprise and anger, Hiccup already somehow took care of it while it was on the ground defeated, and the crowd cheered for Hiccup while Astrid was furious for missing the somehow again. "No! Son of a half-troll, rat-eating mung, bucket!" Astrid screamed with fury while she swung her axe around as Hiccup looked nervous with her temper right now, and Stoic was trying to announce something as Hiccup tried to get out of here. Later, Hiccup announced while he was about to leave before Gobber suddenly stopped him by grabbing his shoulder. "Oh no, not so fast, Hiccup," Gobber said while he put him back down away from the exit. "I'm Hiccup tried coming up with an excuse to leave, but Astrid went up in his face and was demanding to know where he's been going this whole time. "What? Leave for what? Exactly?" Astrid asked with anger while she was holding the tip of her axe by his neck before Stoic began to speak again. "Okay, quiet down. The elder has decided," Stoic announced, making everyone look at an old lady who would decide who would kill the dragon, and as Gobert pointed to Astrid, she shook her head disapprovingly, making some of the crowd disappointed by that, but when Gobert went to Hiccup, she nodded her head in approval, which made the whole town cheer for him. "Oh, you've done it. You've done it, Hiccup. You get to kill the dragon." Gobert cheered while Astrid looked extremely furious with him winning, and the other students began picking him up and cheering for him too to carry him off, and Hiccup was sarcastically trying to play along with it. "That's my boy," Stoic cheered while Hiccup was looking so eager to do it tomorrow. "Yes. I can't wait. I am so," Hiccup said sarcastically before we suddenly cut to him back at the grove looking ready to go. "Leaving. We're leaving, guys," Hiccup announced while he was walking through the place to find the two. He had a single bag full of stuff he had for a possible long trip Spike and Toothless are gonna take for a while, and he was just wanting to get out of here as fast as possible. He didn't want him to be chosen to kill the dragon, but as if the gods were laughing at him, he was chosen, and it made him decide that he just needed to leave. While he knows it'll probably devastate the village and his father for bailing out, he just didn't have it in him. "Let's pack up. Looks like the three of us are taking a little vacation, forever," Hiccup finished while he was making sure he had everything packed. Spike and Toothless were able to hear this from the distance, and they were both a bit concerned on why he wanted to leave. "What's going on with him?" Spike whispered with a curious look while looking at Toothless, who didn't know how to answer, and Spike decided it's just best to ask him himself. "Maybe something happened at his village. I'll try finding out a bit more," Spike replied as he was just about to get up to walk to him, but to his surprise, he saw someone else had followed Hiccup here, and he quickly got back down to avoid being seen. Hiccup could hear some scraping just above him, and as he looked up at it, Hiccup was very surprised to see Astrid was sitting on a rock above him. What are you doing here?" Hiccup asked nervously on how she managed to get in here without being seen. "I want to know what's going on. Nobody just gets as good as you do, especially you," Astrid said in a threatening tone while she got down and marched up to him for answers. "Start talking. Are you training with someone?" Astrid questioned as Hiccup was having a hard time trying to find a way out of this. Training? I mean," Hiccup said just as she held up her axe to him like before. "It better not involve this," Astrid warned while she kept moving around the place to find what he's hiding. "I know this looks really bad, but you see this is Hiccup said just as they heard a loud twig snap which made Astrid gasp, thinking something big could be here, possibly a dragon, and that made her start to just push past him while he tried to talk her out of it. You're right. I am through with the lies. I've been busy making outfits. So you got me. It's time to drag me back. Go ahead. Here we go," Hiccup said as he tried making her drag him back, but she ended up painfully twisting his hand, which made a loud crack from how painful it sounded. "Oh. Why would you do that?" Hiccup asked painfully while he fell in the ground, and she stepped on his chest with her foot out of payback for what he's been hiding. That's for the lies, and that's for everything else. Astrid answered while she slammed the bottom part of her axe on him next before she heard two loud noises nearby. Oh man. Hiccup said fearfully just as she finally saw Toothless and Spike in the distance. Spike immediately got on all fours and growled with anger while Toothless roared and began to charge at her. Even Astrid was surprised seeing two dragons here. Get down. Astrid screamed while she pushed him down and got ready to fend the two of them off. Run. Get out of here now. Astrid screamed while she charged at them. She tried swinging her axe at Spike, but he quickly flipped over her and went behind her. He swept her legs with his tail and tried to summon her, but that made Astrid jump off from her hands and twirl in the air. She made a loud battle cry while she fell down towards Spike, and that finally made Spike get on two legs to block her from hitting him in the head with her axe at the handle with his claws. Wait. Stop. Hiccup screamed as he ran to them and pushed Astrid away from Spike while Toothless got next to Spike and kept his guard up. Even if this will reveal he can talk to her, at this point he didn't care anymore, and needed to find out who she is. Hiccup, what's going on? Who is she? Spike asked in a demanding tone which made Astrid gasp with shock seeing him talk and stand on two legs like her and Hiccup, and he glared back at her while gripping her claws gripped for any attacks. But Hiccup put his hands between the two of them and tried calming the two of them down. It's okay guys, you just scared them. Hiccup said calmly while Astrid was still shocked and even scared with what she's seeing now. I scared them. Astrid shouted again before she realized something after looking at the two of them. Who are they? And how can that one talk? Astrid questioned while raising her axe to Spike who growled back at her in response, and Hiccup tried finding a way to introduce them. Oh, Toothless, Spike. Astrid. Astrid. Toothless, and Spike. Hiccup introduced while Toothless snarled at her who was still in shock. And this is my dad. He says if you try attacking me again, he'll make sure you regret it. Spike said in a threatening tone making Hiccup slap Spike's head from saying that. Spike don't, we can't just make threats to her like this. Hiccup warned while Spike looked ahead and saw dropping her axe from the shock of seeing Spike talk and was trying to run back to the village. Yeah, and who's gonna talk her out of telling your whole village? Spike asked sarcastically before Hiccup noticed it too, and Toothless finally calmed down and looked unsurprised by her running away. Duh, we're dead. Hiccup said sarcastically as she ran off, and Spike just shrugged his shoulders while Toothless turned around and began walking off. Whoa. Where do you two think you're going? Hiccup questioned while Spike stretched his arms and got ready for a long flight. Well, if you're wanting to get out of here now, let's not waste another second. Spike said as he felt ready to leave like he wanted to do moments ago, but Hiccup quickly went back on it and tried talking them out of it. Come on guys, we can't just let her run off like that. If we can find a way to convince her that you two mean no harm, maybe she won't tell them about you guys. Hiccup asked hopefully making Spike look at him with a raised eyebrow. Maybe. Spike replied making Hiccup stutter a bit before sighing and began getting on Toothless. Come on guys, let's go get her. Hiccup insisted before Toothless spread his wings and began flying off, and Spike rolled his eyes knowing after hearing it. Oh boy, this is gonna take a bit to explain. Spike told himself before he began flying off after them to stop Astrid before anything bad happens. Astrid was trying to run back to the village to tell them of what she found, but as she ran through the forest, just as she jumped over another log, something suddenly grabbed her by the shoulders, and Astrid screamed with fear as she saw Toothless grab her with Hiccup riding on him while Spike flew right next to them. Oh great Odin's ghost. Oh this is it. Astrid screamed as Toothless carried her higher into the sky, and he soon dropped her down on a large tree where she was barely holding onto, and Spike landed right next to him as Toothless was right at the top of it. Hiccup. You and your friend better get me down from here now. Astrid screamed while Spike just crossed his arms. You won't get out of this by acting like that, please try to calm down. Spike advised while he kept his balance. How can I stay calm when you literally decided to put me down here where I can fall to my death? Astrid screamed making Spike shrug his shoulders. Hey, that wasn't my idea, that was my dad's. Be glad it wasn't somewhere worse. I'm just rolling along with this. Spike replied while looking at Hiccup who kept glaring down at Astrid while Hiccup tried to help her. Look, Astrid, I know this is a lot to handle, but you just need to give me a chance to explain. Hiccup advised while she tried climbing off this. I am not listening to any of what you or your friend has to say. Astrid shouted again while the tree was tipping over a bit from Toothless's weight. Then neither of us will speak, just let me show you, please Astrid. Hiccup begged while she finally started calming down, seeing she has no choice, she had to try and show her why he's doing this, and Astrid used what strength she had to climb back up to them, and Spike gave her a boost onto Toothless so she doesn't fall. Alright, let's take this slowly. Spike said as he kept his balance on the branch, and while Astrid still had questions about how he can talk, she just wanted to get down from how high they were. Now get me down, Hiccup. Astrid said as she tried holding on the best she could. Okay, Toothless, down, gently. Hiccup instructed calmly, which started to make Toothless spread his wings, making them think he's about to do it like he was told. See? Nothing to be afraid of. Hiccup said to Astrid while Toothless was thinking about doing something else, and even Spike was able to see what he was thinking of. Dad, no, Spike warned before Toothless suddenly jumped up into the air and began flying high into the sky at fast speed, surprising Spike for a moment. Dang it. Spike screamed before he quickly took off after them and was able to catch up with them rather quickly while Astrid was screaming with fear from how high they were getting. Toothless. What is wrong with you? Bad dragon. Spike. What's up with him? Hiccup shouted as Spike flew under them to try and keep up. Honestly, have no idea. Dad often gets ideas like this more often than you think. Spike shouted back as they saw Toothless was beginning to dive down. Well, I hate it. Hiccup replied before Astrid screamed even more as Toothless dived far down towards the rocks and areas surrounding the island, and Spike was just doing everything he could not to lose them. Toothless even dived into the water a few times because of how fast he was going at the moment. Toothless, what are you doing? We need her to like us. Hiccup shouted as Toothless kept on flying high into the sky at intense speeds before he began to spin around even more. And now he's spinning. Thank you for nothing, you useless reptile. Hiccup said sarcastically while they kept flying through the skies. Dad. I know you're upset. But you need to calm down, please. Spike begged while Astrid started to hold down to Hiccup's chest, feeling regret for what happened earlier. Okay. I am sorry. I am sorry, just get me off of this thing, please. Astrid begged while Toothless heard it, and being what he wanted to hear, Toothless finally stopped flying so fast and began to fly at a much calmer and steady pace while Spike began to slow down. Astrid still had her eyes closed out of fear from how fast they were going moments ago, but once she opened them, she started to look surprised and amazed as they began flying across the island as the sun settled over the seas in the distance. Spike took a deep breath and sighed in relief, feeling glad his dad calmed down. None of them said a word as they took in this beautiful moment. For all of them, it was one of the best joys they've felt when it comes to flying. They began flying higher into the clouds as the sun kept on setting in the sky. They flew so high to the point they could see only the clouds all around them. Astrid began to look more and more amazed as they flew through the skies. The wind flying by them felt amazing, and seeing the world from so high up was unlike anything she felt before. She even brushed her hands against the clouds and could feel them go through her as they kept on flying. Toothless began flying higher into the sky, almost making it look as they were upside down, and Astrid just felt so much joy from this amazing experience, and as Toothless flew up even higher, they went so high to the points they began to come out of them very briefly, before he and Spike dove back into the clouds and emerged through the top of them as the sun had set, and it had now become a beautiful starry night once again. They could even see an aurora borealis form within skies above them, and that made Spike smile even more before he began flying up a bit more and flew around them, making Astrid look more amazed at the sight of it. And soon enough, they could see Berk on the horizon after moving through the clouds. Seeing it from this view was incredible. It all looked completely quiet and calm. Nothing wrong was happening with it at the moment. Spike slowly flew down and stayed close to Toothless as they flew by the village, making sure not to alert any of the villagers, and once they saw enough of it, they began flying away higher into the skies, and Astrid finally started to understand why he was doing this. And after a while, Astrid finally began to speak again after seeing such an amazing sight. Alright, I admit it, this is pretty cool. It's amazing. They both are. Astrid admitted, making the two of them feel proud for hearing that from her. Thanks. Look, sorry about what happened earlier. I know seeing me talk is quite the shock, but me and my dad don't mean any harm, I promise that. Spike assured while she was still confused on how this is possible. I'm sorry too, but I still have a lot of questions. You are raised by him. Were you always able to talk like this? Astrid asked while looking at Toothless, who reflected back on the night he found Spike again. Sort of. Only started talking a few months after I was born, and I was found and hatched by Toothless here over 15 years ago. It's been quite the life for the both of us. We still don't even know why I can talk myself. Spike answered while she still needed a moment to process that. Guess that makes you pretty different from the other dragons, huh? Kinda like how Hiccup is to me and the other Vikings. That's something I never thought I'd see, honestly. Astrid replied while Spike flew next to Toothless and gave him a scratch on his head. Yeah, well, that's the thing about life, we never know what will happen in it. It's always full of surprises. Spike replied calmly while Astrid smiled back and felt convinced about him too. Can't argue against that. Astrid replied before she turned to Hiccup and remembered the important task Hiccup is tomorrow. Hiccup, your final exam is tomorrow, you know you're gonna have to kill. Astrid quickly realized what she said, and to whisper the last part to him so Spike or Toothless doesn't hear it, but they both had an idea on what she was implying. Don't remind me. Hiccup replied just until Toothless started to hear a strange voice which made his eyes narrow out of surprise from where it was coming from. It even started to get to Spike this time, who held his head in pain. Ugh. What? Spike asked with pain while he did his best to shake it out of his head to ignore it. He doesn't know what that sound was, but it did not sound pleasant at all. But unfortunately, Toothless suddenly began flying even faster than before through the clouds, making them scream with a bit of surprise. Toothless, what's happening? Hiccup asked with worry while Spike flew after them, and after realizing what's going on, he had a dreadful feeling on what was happening again. Oh no. Not this again. Spike said with fear while he was sensing something very wrong. Spike? What's going on? Hiccup asked with concern just until they heard another dragon roar just by them, and they quickly got down to stay low. Spike had a look of fear as he suddenly started seeing more and more dragons flying through the clouds after emerging from the clouds in an airy way, looking to be almost the same ones that raided the village back when they first found this place. Spike made sure not to run into any other dragons and stayed close under Toothless. He didn't know what was going on, but he tried not to cause any trouble, and as Hiccup looked at the other dragons, he saw they were carrying the same animals and food they stole during that raid. It looks like they're hauling in their kill. Hiccup said with worry as multiple dragon roars were heard around them. And what does that make us? Spike? Do you know what's? Astrid asked before he finished for her already. I don't know what's happening, something similar like this happened multiple nights ago. And whatever it isn't good. Spike replied, making them even more worried about it. Then where are they going? Hiccup asked quietly while they held onto Toothless tightly. All the dragons kept flying through the skies before they started to die down all at once, and Astrid screamed as they began picking up speed, and they started flying around and under many rocks and walls coming in their way. Things were getting more and more intense and scary as they flew through the clouds before finally emerging through them, and to the fear, they started to fly towards what looked like a volcano on an isolated island, and none of them could fully process this before they began flying into an open cave leading them inside. They all screamed even more as they flew directly into it, and they held on tightly as Toothless flew alongside the other dragons. The light around them began to look more like a dark red as they flew into the center of the volcano, and to their surprise, it looked like they had just found a hidden nest where all these dragons have been hiding, and for Hiccup and Astrid, this was the biggest discovery they've seen yet. But my dad wouldn't give to find this. Hiccup told himself as they flew around the nest to find a place to hide. Spike looked around the place and could see almost every single dragon drop the food they had into the large hole below them, almost like something else was down there. What are they doing? Spike asked as they found a safe place to hide. They could see the entire nest dropping the food into the hole, and not one of them was taking it for themselves. Well, it's satisfying knowing that all of our food is being dumped down the hole. Hiccup said sarcastically as a few more dragons roared and dropped what they had into it. They're not eating any of it. Astrid said with confusion on why they're doing this. Then, why are they even doing this? Spike whispered to them until they saw one more grankle fly into the nest. The grankle didn't look like it had anything on it, but to their disgust, the thing threw up one single fish which fell into the hole, but from that came an extremely loud, menacing growl which really scared the grankle. But as it tried to fly away, to everyone's shock and horror, an enormous dragon unlike anything they've seen before emerged through the hole and ate the grankle entirely. The three of them gasped with terror and were in complete shock with what they're seeing. What is that? Astrid asked with horror as the other dragons in the nest tried hiding from it as it lowered down into the hole for a bit before emerging out of it again, almost like it was searching for any dragon who wasn't able to give it the food at once. Alright guys, we gotta get out of here. Hiccup said with fear while he was motioning for Toothless to go, and Spike was more than happy to get out of here quickly. Let's go. Spike shouted as they finally took off and barely avoided the thing eating them too. Spike roared back at the monstrous dragon as it began climbing out of the hole as every single dragon began flying around and circling around the top of the nest which had an exit just above. The huge dragon tried to take another attempt at eating them, but Spike turned back to it and a powerful plasma blast at it which knocked it down to the hole a bit more which gave them a chance to escape. They didn't waste another second to escape the nest and fly as far away as they could from it. All of them were in complete shock of what they've just discovered, and as they flew out of the volcano and tried making it back home, Spike looked back at the nest as they flew away one last time. He had a dreadful feeling they'll be seeing that place again soon, and when they do, it'll be life or death. But for now, he stayed close to his father and headed back to the grove to figure out what to do. This was a huge discovery for all of them, and they'll need to figure out how to stop this soon.